Previously on Chat 62. What impact would you say you left there at 62 area PAC? Or even just with 5th Marines in general?
I didn't want the Marines that I had under my watch to go through what I did. I wanted them to know that the Marine Corps wasn't 24/7. I mean, because once your enlistment was up, there were Marines that got out that couldn't let that mentality go. Whether it was your short-termers, your long-termers, they couldn't let a certain piece of that go. And I didn't want them to have to deal with that every day. Even though, I dealt with the PAC for what, a year? But I wanted to teach them that wasn't 24/7. I didn't want them to feel like this is all you have and that's it. Like, no, I wanted them to have lives outside the Corps.
To become a Marine, being in the Marines with all the struggles and challenge that you had doing and achieving that, getting injured, now getting out injured, what was your plan? Go back to Amani?
Yeah, I had no choice. I had to move back in with mom and dad.
School was there?
School wasn't my thing, and I wish it would have been. I didn't. I had no plan. All I knew was that tap separations, that there was temp agencies we can apply for. Fuck it, I gave that a shot. I took a couple months off. It's funny because my buddy, my former best friend, when I was on my way out, he was literally on his way into the Navy. The night before I went on terminal leave, I remember it was August 30th. I went to wherever they were staying at the LA airport, wherever they housed the Navy recruits. And I took a bunch of other friends to go see him. I'm like, you motherfucker, you couldn't wait a couple months, dude. Like, dude, we could have fucking hung out. I go, so we never had time to hang out as civilians. That kind of sucked. And I was more bent on just trying to keep whatever civilian life I can hang on to, because I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. Again, it was kind of like, rewind 4 years and everybody moved on with their lives. Like, fuck, where do I fit in now? Even though these are people that I've been seeing like as every chance I could get, I'm going to be out full time now. And where do I fit in? And no, it was temp agencies, dude. My first job, I was working for collections, collecting medical equipment for some kind of temp agency over in Covina. Sucked. I kept that job for a week, but it was I was doing temporary assignments. I worked in a mailroom for like fucking Aaron Brothers over in Commerce. I don't know if you remember the Aaron Brothers headquarters, and odd enough, it was like 2 blocks away from my future wife.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing odd end office jobs.
On Telegraph. It was on, right?
No, Gerhardt.
Oh, yeah, on the back. Okay.
Gerhardt?
Yeah, Gerhardt. Yeah. Gerhardt, yeah.
And
I know which one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was just doing odd end jobs. Luckily, I had held on to some money, since I was on terminal leave. That's why I kind of took a break and whatever. I would work whenever I could. I mean, because I wasn't really worried about cash. I took some time off, and it wasn't until March of 2001 where I signed up with another temp agency, and my first assignment was at IndyMac Bank over in Pasadena. That got me to the mortgage industry, and I've been in it ever since.
What year was that?
March 2001.
Wow. Well over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So driving off Camp Pendleton, your last day you're there, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings, emotions? Did you shed a tear?
I was relieved. It was over with in a way. It was bittersweet. And I think a lot of the Marines that we've interviewed has said it's a bittersweet feeling. Like, this is something that, especially if you're a short-termer, something that you wanted, it was kind of taken from me. At that time, I was already just over it. Like I said before, that's why a lot of Marines saw, especially that last year, they saw the burnt out, fed up version of me. Okay, I was ready to move forward, see what was next. I didn't have no fucking plans. Oh, also I did attempt, I think I got back with that girl that I was engaged to. Fuck, I forgot about that shit.
That's a temp agency right there.
No. and I was doing some inventory work with her before I set off on my own to go do some temp work. But I was sad, but I was just like, fuck, I made it. I did my time. I'm out. Let's see what's next.
Any special shout outs for your time that you want to give to? I think you did, right? Like Kibberts.
Gibbers, and yeah, you know what? There was actually another one I forgot.
Mm.
At the time, it was Staff Sergeant Danny Acosta. He was my personnel chief. I mentioned he was a former drill instructor, and it's funny because the Conad, he was in between drill duties. In a way, so he went to the field, got out of the field, started working at the Conad as a personnel chief. He decided to get back into the field.
I didn't know you could do a lot of things in there.
Yeah.
Right.
He was that father figure to me in the Corps, and he kind of gave me that kick in the ass. No, he did give me that kick in the ass when I needed it. He gave me the reality checks that I needed, that I didn't know that I needed. I don't want to say he started to get soft on us towards the end of his time there at Conad, but I think he did. You kind of saw it in his face. Like, he wasn't that same, like, he didn't have that drill instructor mentality. Like, I'm like, fuck, you're going to go back in and you're kind of getting soft. I don't know if I think he finally just let his guard down, but I knew at the time he started dating somebody and he was happy. And I was like, oh shit, this is a different Danny Acosta that we're dealing with. We started seeing those changes. I started seeing those changes. I don't know if anyone else did, but he started to become more approachable. No, when he was hard, he was hardcore. Like I said, he gave me the kick in the ass that I needed when I needed. He gave me the reality checks, and I'm sure there's a lot more that I could say. I had an opportunity to see him when I was still living in Vegas. He was in Vegas at the time, but I was about to head out. I'm like, sorry, man. Maybe another time. He lives in Santa Clarita. He doesn't live too far, but he was definitely there for me when I needed him, whether I wanted him there or not.
Those are always good to have. Or many could say that there was always those that were in the back, sort of just trying to help out.
Yeah.
Being that shadow, I guess, that extra shadow that we might have needed.
Yeah, for reals.
No, that's really cool. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing about him too. No, September 11th, 2001, you were already out of the Marine Corps. That was a significant date for the United States, the World Trade Center being attacked. What's going on through your mind when you were seeing these things on TV probably that morning when you woke up?
I remember getting ready for work and my mom, she's watching the news and she's like, Mijo, come over here. I run across the hall to her room. I see the first building, the first tower is on fire. And they said that an aircraft struck it. And I think it was still up in the air. They thought it was a helicopter. They may have just crashed into it. And then the second plane hit. I was like, oh shit. My stomach dropped because I had been out for 10 months. Well, active duty Marines, we do 4 years active and 4 years inactive. So there's always that chance of getting recalled. But you really don't think much about it. But then 9/11 happened and I thought a lot about it.
Right.
So
because that was now a possibility.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did get called back.
Mm-hmm. Or a lot of people got called and got put on standby.
That's right. And or stop loss, again, that term that's being used. That were still in and they couldn't get out. Or what else? But no, basically those that were already out, they were getting back in. And like you said, standby, and some of them got deployed, attached, and had to continue their time. So yeah, there was a good likelihood of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They found me in Indy Mac. I got a phone call, Marine Corps Reserve. And I was put on standby. Had to go get a physical. I think I ever talked about that.
Oh, really? No. I don't think you ever did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was all freaked out because I dropped a ton of weight. I was running. I felt good. And I was like, fuck, dude, they're going to throw my disability out the window. And I'm going to have to go back in. Changed my mindset at work because my focus wasn't on work anymore. Yeah, after that second plane hit, I went to work and we were being cautious because we heard that LA was going to be, the next target. Chicago. There were different metropolitan areas that there were targets.
How much longer after September 11th did you have to go back for a physical to?
It wasn't long. I don't remember. It was pretty quick.
Wow. I didn't know. That's interesting. So what was that like? You just showed up, did a quick physical. They said, good to go. And that was it?
That was it.
Wow.
You're on standby. You're on standby to stand by. Yeah, I remember driving to Pasadena, and you heard about what happened in Pennsylvania. No, I think Pennsylvania was the last one. I think it was a Pentagon, and then Pennsylvania, and that the rogue plane that just crashed in the field. Like, dude, is this gonna be over or what? I remember the tone in the office was just so somber. We were paranoid. One of the girls I was working with, she was gonna go to Vegas on her honeymoon, like that following week, and she was all freaked out because all the planes went down at that time. They didn't go down, but
Yeah, no flying.
yeah, no flying. Yeah, nobody was allowed to go into the airspace.
Yeah, definitely an interesting time. You didn't get called back. Nothing happened. Just that was that one time. No letter, no nothing. Just to say, hey, thanks. Damn, okay. That's interesting because I never heard that happening. Really, usually it was like they go do a physical, and then right away they're either going somewhere or they have to go somewhere, check in, spend a day somewhere.
Maybe they just found out that I was a broke dick, and
they were like, oh,
know what? Hey, he's broke and he ain't gonna go nowhere.
Haven't heard that term in a while, but yeah.
I haven't said it in a while either.
Yeah, right. So, well, yeah, September 11th. It was definitely an interesting time and a very, I guess there was a lot of patriotism.
That was odd enough. It felt good to see that, like, we were united. I hadn't seen it in my lifetime, because I was born after the bicentennial, when I think that was probably the last time. It was probably like, USA. So it was nice seeing, remember those little clips they would put on each corner of the cars, like in the mirrors, like in the
windows,
windows, and they had the US flags. Like that was just. I remember doing like a candlelight vigil because online they said everybody stand outside at one certain time or something, with your candle, and people would pass by and they knew what it meant.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was the last time united patriotism was like that. And I don't think we've seen anything like that since.
I agree.
What went through my head was, what's going to happen to these Marines that I left behind? What was going to happen to you guys? And back then we didn't have any way to contact each other, Very few of us had cell phones. I don't think everybody was checking their military email, and when we didn't have social media, so we didn't keep in touch, really.
It was definitely a lot harder to communicate back then. Stay in communication with one another, especially after getting out. Yeah, we really didn't know what was going on. We just knew something was happening. They told us to do a lot of crazy stuff just to prepare. Everyone getting motivated. You're going to war. Who's ready to go? Formation after formation, things got a little bit more serious, more combat mindset.
Yeah, it wasn't like the way, they changed everything forever. Like, yeah. I'm sure in the military and outside, that was our turning point. In our lifetime, like, we ever try to think back if there was like a turning point?
Like meaning from peacetime to like now a serious time, or just a turning point of just within our lifetimes within ourselves?
I think a turning point. I think both.
Okay. It was, yeah, for both, for sure.
Because I saw it as, being out, the world changed. We were taking everything too seriously. Our sense of humor kind of went out the window. Everybody started to get offended by everything, and it's not like the way it is now. It's even worse, but that was a turning point, I think. It was after 9/11.
There was a different seriousness.
Like, we're never going to get back to that.
Usually, okay, well, the 4 years go by and you get out. Let's fast forward 4 years around the enlistment time frame. You're working temp agencies. You rekindle a slight little relationship with somebody temporarily. You start working in the mortgage industry. What more is going on in your life? What more special things have happened?
So we're fast forwarding to 2004.
2004.
I'm already a father for the first time.
Okay, so when did that happen?
I got married the first time. I've been married twice. First marriage, it happened quick. We were young, early 20s. Neither one of us was ready. She gave me my little girl. I became a father October 2003 to my daughter, Lacey. She changed my life forever. I didn't know I could love someone so much more than any person, anything in this life. And becoming a dad changed everything. That I didn't realize how much love I could have for someone. And it was weird just realizing, wow, this is an extension of me, just being everything I could be to her. And she was everything to me. And I can still remember the days when my people at AmeriQuest knew how much Lacey meant to me. I found out that I was going to be a dad. I think the second day of work at AmeriQuest, Lacey became my everything. Lacey helped me get through that time that I had to deal with when I was in that first marriage. She became that lightning rod that I needed during that marriage. She kept me grounded. She kept my head from, going in bad places. Yeah, she was my yin to my yang. Being a father to Lacey was a life-changing journey that brought me immense happiness, fulfillment, and personal growth. It's a role that shaped me, not just for myself, but for Lacey as well.
So this was after the Marine Corps?
Oh, yeah. I got married in 2002, July 12, 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, everything happened quick. Everything happened really quick. I wasn't ready to be a husband. I was ready to be a dad more than I was a husband. No matter what, she gave me my little girl. For that, I'll always be happy for her.
That's exciting. Yeah. I was like, I was just sort of reminiscing of when I became a dad myself. And yeah, the little girls are something special.
Yeah, she, so I got married. It was rocky. It was rocky even throughout 2004. 2004, I'm already working. I'm in my third year in the mortgage industry, and I'm working in Orange County for a mortgage company called AmeriQuest. I may have been focused a little bit more on work than I was on my personal life.
You were being responsible.
Yeah.
Well, with work, right? No.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Like I've said many times before, I was never an angel. I could leave that in there. I don't give a fuck. I was working as a lead, so it was the first time I've been in a leadership role since the Corps. I didn't want it. I don't want to lead. I don't like to lead. I like to be the team player. I like to pitch in and help. I like to be a background player. I don't like taking the lead to anything.
Would you say that was sort of your leadership style, sort of in the Marine Corps too? Well, no, you did take on more of a leadership role.
I took on more of a leadership role.
Because you had to.
Yeah.
You had to.
I guess I don't know how managers of any kind can handle leadership having other responsibilities outside work. I can't juggle that. I can't. Like I want to focus on me and that's it. I want to come back home and be who I have to be at home, but I don't want to have to babysit other people. The Marine Corps was no problem. It was just me. It was just me. I had no kids. I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. The boys are all I had to worry about, and that was it. And I enjoyed it. But once I took a leadership role and a civilian role, I didn't want it. Like it was just too much. I guess we'll leave this on here. But power does things to people. I'll leave it at that.
But it's true. It's true.
I wasn't ready for that kind of power.
Yeah. No, it's deep. So at some point you're staying busy, things you needed to work. You're done with your marriage. You have your little girl. You're being the best dad you can be. What were things that you were doing to just sort of stay up, keep yourself and your mind distracted? And
the marriage ended in 2008.
Okay.
So the marriage, it was only 6 years.
That's a long time.
Well, I've been married for 12.
Well, yeah. In this one. Well,
in the second one.
Yeah.
So it's twice as long. Yeah, the marriage came to an end. It was amicable. We were both ready to move forward. I really wanted custody of my daughter, and I didn't get that. It wasn't by way of court. It was Lacey's decision, and I respected it. But it hurt like a motherfucker. It hurt. I went to real bad depression. There was times when I thought, you know what? Maybe I don't want to be here anymore. Maybe she'd be better off without me. Maybe I'm making it worse. The weekends with her would go by so quick. I cherished every moment with her, and that hurt. Hoping that she would come around and say, you know what, hey, Daddy, I want to stay with you. No, it just never happened. She more stuck to her mother than I thought she was. Than I thought she would have been. There was nothing else I could do. It hurt. It hurt every day. It hurt for a long time. I did dip back into dating. dating as a single dad was tough. I didn't want anybody in.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think I would keep the dates at maybe 2, and that was it. I didn't want to get stuck on anybody because I was trying to learn from the last marriage, from the last relationship. I wasn't gonna fucking go full throttle in anything again. I dated throughout 08, 09. I dated. There were girls that I liked, and there were this ones that just, it fizzled out for whatever reason, or whether it was their call or mine. Until I met Ruth, I kept a arm's distance with her. I didn't want to get into something fast, and I know it drove her fucking nuts. But I wasn't gonna put anybody in that same situation, like I did to my ex-wife. I didn't want to do that, so I played it cautious. Whether it was her meeting Lacey, me committing, I took it slow. And I know she got frustrated, and God bless her for sticking around, but I played it. I was very careful. Fool me once, shame on you.
Right.
No, I played it cautious, and we dated for 3 years before I got married again. I was not going to subject anybody to that again.
And you didn't, being that there was so much more involved with that as well too. So,
Yeah.
You had your daughter. So
Yeah, I played it. Mm-hmm. I played it extra close to the vest.
And she was your world at the time, and you were allowing other people to enter that. So.
And that was scary, and I was hesitant. I was very hesitant.
At that point, have you kept in contact with anybody from the military, like throughout those years, from the point you got out to then?
In 01, I saw Francisco Estrada.
Who's that?
Francisco Estrada from El Monte.
I have no idea. No, I'm kidding. That was funny how you say El Monte.
El Monte. It was just one time I saw him, and he goes, "So hey, Sam got married." Sam got married. Yeah, Sam got married. So it may have been 2002. I think that's when I saw Estrada.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, it may have been like early 2002. Something like that. 'Cause it was it was maybe a few months before I got married myself. But I don't even think I even knew I was going to get married at that point. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I remember him telling me that Sam became a dad, or he was going to be a dad. I don't know what came first, if the marriage came first or the kid. I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I just remember he was going to be a dad. That's what
tripped me. Fucking, I'm like, Sam?
Yeah, right. Sam, the guy who break dances in his room for hours after work. That's
inhales white out and
no.
Looks like Chavo de Ocho. Yeah, I was surprised, and Estrada was the only one I saw face to face. Oh, yeah, for good luck.
That's right. That's what it means, right? Yep. I was like, yeah.
There was one time when we did a chain.
Juan's here.
There's a grasshopper in the fucking wall. Fucking Sam.
It's meant to be.
It's meant to be. We did do what do we used to call those phone calls back in the day?
Party lines.
Yeah, we did a party line once of all fucking places. I did it at work when I was still working for IndyMac. And we got Williams on the line, Muniz, Zapien,
dude, that's a name.
And maybe Escanuela.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I thought it was gonna be a cool fucking conversation. These motherfuckers just went back to They just threw my fucking best hits at me, dude. Oh, remember when you did this? Oh, remember when you did that? I'm like, why am I even on this fucking call, dude? It's just a fucking roast. I'm like, I even told him, I go, now I know why I don't keep in touch with any of you. And I hung up. Because I'm like, dude, man, come on. It was hard to keep in touch with anybody, other than Yeah, it was hard to keep in touch. I don't think I reached out to anybody again until during the MySpace years.
Yeah, MySpace, I think, rekindled or brought back a lot of people.
Yeah, and I got in touch with Zapien, and he put this one photo. I know he's not going to listen to this. I'll just fucking say it anyway. He put this photo of him at CAX, standing guard, and he put something like a standing guard in the desert. He's not being specific what desert it is. And you saw all kinds of comments. Oh, thank you for your service. Oh, this must have been when you went out to Iraq or whatever bullshit. I don't remember what it was, but I made a comment like, this must have been a time when you guys weren't sticking me with duty. I go, semper fuck, huh? I guess it should be noted I wasn't in the right place in my head during that time. I was maybe at the tail end of my first marriage, so I wasn't right. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but
Well, we can, because I think a little bit of, it's important to talk about depression. So, we have it as men. Along with depression usually comes some anxiety, some thoughts, or just even new feelings in your own body, that you're like, I never felt this before, but I feel weird. More pain, in essence,
yeah.
But we could go to that in a bit.
So I went some back and forth with Zapien. There's really nothing important. Okay. He talked shit to me, and he had every right to.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him since. I hear he's doing well. Good for him. Going back to me not being like in the right place. I think in 2006, I was working for a mortgage company in Irvine called People's Choice Home Loans. Me and the ex, we weren't in a good place. I remember it was October 31st. It was Halloween of that year. And I dressed up as a crow. That day, I finally I cracked. I just cracked. I went to my doctor, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm just constantly panicking. Work wasn't good either. I wasn't working for a good person. So she was giving me shit. Like, she raised hell. I was like, fuck, I don't need this, dude. On top of this, and on top of, what the marriage is, and it's going downhill. I even quoted it like in journals that I've had. I finally cracked. I took 2 months off from work. What do they call it? LOA?
Yeah.
It was
now it's FMLA, but yeah.
It was the first time I ever taken medications for anxiety and depression.
Wow.
And I fucking hated it. Because back then, I don't know, it could have been a stronger dose.
Different medications then too.
Or that too. Mm-hmm. But it felt like the whole world was moving and I was just sitting still.
That sucks.
And I'm sure you've seen like versions of that like in movies, but that's the way it felt. And I became so numb to everything, dude. I was numb to my former stepson, my ex. I think with Lacey was my only tether to reality, because everything else just didn't matter. And it was, I don't remember how long I was on it for, but I pulled myself off of it. Like, I said no more. And I had to deal with all the side effects, the vertigo, the nausea, the irritability. But
the nerve pains, or nerve feelings, the uneasy nerves, not pains, but just like uneasiness, maybe.
Uneasiness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that. It took a toll on me. And I had told myself at the time, I'm never going to be on meds again. Yeah, that, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out this depression thing on my own. My depression, my anxiety, and just, dude, it was bad. It was bad for the next 14 years.
So before this, you had mentioned that you had some sort of, you had depression when you were at home with your pain. Was that the first time you had ever experienced some sort of depression? Or I know you had mentioned you felt down, because of certain things of not working out the way they needed to. For example, when you were supposed to leave to boot camp and you couldn't, and then having to be back and you're surprising your mom, and
I think
but not necessarily. I guess you were going to move forward from those moments, not necessarily knowing when or how, but you did. I guess during that time frame, there was that gap from when you were at home recovering, you were depressed, you came back around that time. Did you ever get depressed during that time frame again, or was
during the Corps?
After the Corps, like in that time frame when there was that little gap, or did you ever come out of that depression from when you were in the Corps? Like being the ankle being messed up now, or the foot. Sorry, the foot.
Yeah. There was when I started to, remember I had said, if you told me I can't do anything, I'm going to fucking prove you wrong.
Right.
Well, at that time, being a young, spry 22-year-old, I proved the doctors wrong. I dropped, I don't know, I gained a lot of weight after. Gained a lot of weight because I just let the injury become my handicap. So I babied it. I was even walking differently, and you would see my shoes, the angle of my right foot or my right shoe was at a 45 because of the way I was walking, because I was favoring it, just trying not to walk on it.
Yeah.
So I started to get back in shape. I started seeing the girl that I was my first girlfriend, and it organically grew into something, but she was there to help bring me back, you know? And so I dropped a bunch of weight, got fit again. I was able to run again, something that they told me that I couldn't do. And I did it again. They told me I couldn't stand for prolonged time. I couldn't run again. So I pulled myself out of it. So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
Running has always been there for me, no matter what. Like, even in the core, that was the only time I felt free in my head. So, and I don't know if you want to jump forward to this, what I'm going through right now. You know, my diagnosis, you know, with my back is really got me down. And I'm kind of letting outside forces get to me. That was my fault for sharing that information. And maybe I shouldn't have. But I'm letting it get to me again. Where I just dropped out of a fucking half marathon training. Halfway through. Got up to 6 miles. Halfway fucking through. But I let outside forces get to me, to get into my head. So I'm still going to the gym, but now I'm being cautious. Why am I being cautious? Now all of a sudden things are hurting now, even more. Like, did I get into my own head? I don't know. I don't know if it's legit pain. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know. But running has always been it's always pulled me out.
I think at one point I remember seeing a picture where you were up there in weight. What was the highest you think you got?
330.
330.
That was when I met Ruthie in 2009. I was 330 pounds.
330 pounds. Probably killing your legs too and everything else.
Killing my legs, my back.
Yeah.
My feet.
We have a good brother in at arms, Henry Navarez, who always finds ways to be direct and straightforward, and sometimes he finds I was talking to him about a 5K and how I really want to accomplish one this year, and I will. I know I will. The problem is like he was like, you could probably do it in 45 minutes, and I'm like, I don't think I can because I don't run like you run. I can't run. I try to run and I fall. He was like, well, just get up and keep on going. Well, I fall again. I'm like, at some given point, it hurts. And I have to start deciding whether or not I'm going to just get up, run a few steps and keep on falling, or just pace myself and get to the finish line. You know, a little longer than most would probably accomplish it. But regardless, I'm going to do it. But the conversation was fruitful because at the end, he was like, just do it. That's what I'm basically saying. Just do it. You know, like go out there and stay motivated and encourage yourself to do it. And I'm going to get you and Monarca to go out and go do it yourselves if you have to, but you guys will do it, you know? And I'm like, yeah, we will. The year's still young, but I know I got to keep up to my goal for this year. And I know we talked about this.
There is a cool one in November in Malibu.
Well, that might be cool because November is my birthday and I around that birthday
there
month.
You go. So. It's usually the week before your birthday.
Okay.
It's like that first Saturday, Sunday in November. So I'm pretty sure our phones probably heard it. So
yeah,
it's going to pop up on my feed. But I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? I've signed up for so many fucking half marathons since we were able to start running them again. And I can't get there. The last long run that I did was a 17.75K.
Yeah.
That was the last one I did, and that was 2021. That was the last one. That's the last long distance that I've ran. I've done hikes, but I think there was a time when I pushed myself where I was doing strenuous hikes in a row. And I severely strained both Achilles, my right Achilles, and I did my left. It was so much. Like I had to really pull myself back from the reins because I was still trying to fucking do it. I'm like, dude, I can fucking rupture my fucking Achilles, and I won't have no choice but to not do anything.
You've gone through a lot. Your body's gone through a lot, and you still put your body through a lot of. It is pushing through it, but you're seeing you're starting to feel your limits.
Yes, and I have a feeling this is something we could probably talk about with physical fitness. I think we have a side one that I'd like to talk about, but just just to get the points of view from other Marines that are trying to stay fit or wanting to get to a certain point again.
I always remember how fit I was when I was in my youth, and I always say I'm gonna get there again at one point. And I know realistically we probably can, but it would take extra effort, extra work, the diet. What else? Just
daily pressures, dude.
Yeah,
that's what gets me.
And that's what it is. I think what limited me for a long time too was I was sitting in traffic from wanting to stay active as much as I could. And I tried to stay as active as I could with the job that I had in the past, with the members that I used to serve in the community. I would go for long walks with them, enjoy, outdoorsy things. But at the end of it all, I wasn't getting the sufficient amount of exercise that I needed because I would sit in traffic for long periods of time. And then next thing you know, I'm get home and I just couldn't. I needed to lay down. I couldn't even breathe. That's how bad it would be. So I know you started having a long drive in recent. So how long does it usually take you now from, well, you've always had a long drive. You said Irvine. Orange County.
There was a point I was working in San Diego, Rancho San Bernardo.
Moore Park
for 8 years. Vegas. I don't know if it's an offensive term, but I must have been a gypsy in another life because I pretty much have lived out of my car for the past 20 some odd years with very few exceptions. Where I've actually worked close, but otherwise I've always been on the fucking road, dude. I've been a gypsy. I've been a fucking road warrior.
What were some of the difficult challenges that you faced, I guess, within recent, that within your life that you've had a lot of good blessings? One, the home. I know there's going to be a few more accomplishments coming up within your family. I guess I want to talk about where we sort of left off about when you got married with Ruth, and then, you had your family there, and
oh yeah, married Ruth. 8 months later, Jacob was born. In 2012. Yeah, I'm like, shit, I got a son now. When I married Ruthie, she brought a daughter into the marriage, just like I brought my daughter into the marriage, Rachel. I was hesitant about being a stepdad again because of my experience in my previous marriage. Like, fuck, it's going to be the same kind of vibe, and it's just not going to work out. And that was part of the reason why, that first marriage didn't work out, in addition to other things. That was challenging. It took us a while to figure each other out. Yeah. So, Ruthie and I got married in 2012. The girls are around each other a lot because they're only a year apart. Lacey's 2003 and Rachel was 2004. So again, marrying Ruth, we had to come to compromise and agree that we're going to move to East LA. I was going to move to East LA. Never been in East LA, really, other than when I was a kid. East LA wasn't my cup of tea. It was a culture shock, to be honest.
I remember.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a culture shock for me. I mean, yes, I am Mexican, but I wasn't really around Mexicans per se, like Mexican Mexicans. So it was a culture shock for me. Like it just added to my stress. I don't know if I ever really adjusted my first time in East LA because I did 2 tours in East LA.
So there is East LA and then there's East LA. So you had 2 tours in East LA. You were in, when did you start living in East LA again?
2012.
2012.
I was there until 2019.
Man, that seems like so long ago.
7 years, dude.
Yeah.
It had its challenges.
Because I just remember always seeing you in the community.
Yeah, we would always bump into each other at the Vallartas.
Yeah. There or Target.
Or Target, that's right. Yeah. I had even more challenges when I got a new job in 2014. I started working in Moore Park. I was commuting over 100 miles a day. There were times I would just get so tired, I would just rent a room out there and then stay out there for a couple nights a week because it took its fucking toll on me, dude. And I was just bent on, learning the job. It was a new job. It was still in the mortgage industry, but it was a brand new department. But it did serve, there were challenges in Moore Park.
But there was a purpose for being there, so a check.
Yeah.
The knowledge.
Yeah. Personally and professionally, there were challenges there. Working with PennyMac gave me that opportunity to move elsewhere. November of 2018, they said they were going to open an office in Summerlin, really high-end suburban area of Clark County in Vegas. I had my chance to move out there. I asked Ruth just for shits and giggles, like, hey, they're going to open a department out in Vegas. Are you interested? And she said, yeah. And I was like, oh, shit.
So fast forwarding now, moving forward, what's your current, so keeping up with our chat component of courage, honor, action, and triumph, what's your current mission and how are you continuing to serve to make a difference in this world that we live in today?
It's funny because we type these questions out, but I haven't really thought about that. I think right now the mission is for us to, and especially when we have our conversations, going back and forth, when we're driving, we're making that commute back home. It's just to pass the knowledge on to other veterans that have no clue what what they can qualify for, is to educate them. I think it's a mission, and it's just, I don't think not enough is being done on the federal government level. And there needs to be more movements like this, because this is a movement and this is something we can get going. It's something that we can spearhead. It's something we can spearhead, and it's definitely a thing we can do. I think it's a thing we can do. This is right now. Yeah, I feel this right now. This is the mission right now. I think that's why I invest so much time in what I do, with the editing, mixing, producing, all that stuff. It's not all for nothing. It's not all for nothing, and it's not being done in vain. I hope it's making an impact, even if we can make an impact on one person, on one Marine, one service member. Then we did our job.
And that's so true, because we sit down and we talk, and we're talking to some of our other brothers that we served with sometimes in our on our way home from work, and it could be they could be struggling with something. And I know you shared something like sometimes you just have to deal with things on your own. And I've noticed in recent that I've been feeling more of a peace when we open up and have a moment to share and communicate and just sort of check in. The fact that I'm in a weird position to be able to gain some little bit of knowledge of what resources are possibly out there for veterans, and it puts us in a position where we're obligated to share the information that we gain from one another to help better support us through this thing called life, right?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have to be a fucking treasure hunt to figure things out. For our God-given right, we deserve these benefits, and it shouldn't have to be a treasure hunt to figure this stuff out. That's why I'm glad that people like you are out there learning and passing that information forward, because we wouldn't have this information. Certain people would still be struggling with disabilities and just dealing with it, and not having to, take those necessary steps to try to, to make their lives a little bit more better.
And that's true. And I, just not cutting into your time and your story.
That's fine.
But in sharing within this communicate, like this part of the communication that we're having, after all our talks, after 20 something years, I finally filed a claim, so, and I felt inspired to do so because I would listen to you all share your journeys and what you went through and what you're going through. So it is important. And I agree with you 100%. And, you've been spearheading this Chat 62, been capturing a lot of great points that veterans have been wanting to share. Not only that, but within sharing, I've gotten feedback, and I don't know about you, but I've gotten a lot of feedback from people stating like, man, I didn't know that my brother went through that, or I didn't know that someone with that kind of MOS would go through so much, or I didn't know that you guys still struggle with the stuff that you're struggling with just as much as I'm struggling with. So we need to be better advocates. We need to be better supports for support for one another. And you're key on. And this mission that you have is very inspirational. And I'm truly glad to be a part of it. How did your time in the military shape your values and perspectives on life?
It taught me that there has to be order. I think that's why the military worked for me, because of OCD, and there was order. Sometimes a little bit too much order, but there was order. I felt that's kind of something I always adapted to my life. There has to be order. There has to be a plan. And granted, my wife is the opposite of order. She's controlled chaos, and I'm pretty sure she'll be listening to this. So
you say this in love.
I say this with love. There still has to be some kind of order. There still has to be some kind of plan. Having that camaraderie with people, and that's why it sucks with sometimes when you move on to another job, you say all the same shit to people. Oh, to your work buddies. Oh, we'll keep in touch. And sometimes you don't. I know it's a little bit different now with social media, but it's not the same. But it taught me that camaraderie. And look where we're at now, over 20 years later. And look, I kept in touch with you guys more the last 4 years than I have probably ever, since I got out.
And I look at that because that's why when you said you were in East LA back then, I was like, wow, really? And we would run into each other and just life got freaking busy, like beyond ridiculous at times it felt like. And then of course health, and all that other stuff that would put barriers, but life circumstances what really brought us back together, if anything. So I'm just thankful, regardless, of the years that were lost, we've been able to just communicate, rekindle a lot, connect with, I don't know how many more veterans that we sort of I lost contact with as soon as I got out. And now we're all linked back with each other again. So
in one shape or form. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to link with more as this continues.
It's going to be a web of communication.
A web of communication.
Definitely.
What I want to know is, what did you learn about yourself during your time in the military? Granted that you went through a lot of stuff just to get there, just to become a U.S. Marine, to accomplish becoming a U.S. Marine.
If you tell me that I can't, I will. And I also learned that I can handle a lot of fucking bullshit thrown my fucking way.
And I see you embrace it well sometimes. So, if not all the time.
I try.
Was there ever a specific time, aside from when you graduated or when you got your Eagle Globe and Anchor, like an overwhelming sense of pride and purpose while serving our country? Even now, like in your service in life that you do, or maybe cut that question into both. What time did you feel like overwhelmingly a sense of pride while you were serving, and then currently now?
When I got that was like my first few months in the fleet. I spoke in front of a crowd of people. I know, it's hard to believe. And it was somebody's, I can't remember what the situation was, but I spoke to the audience about the Marine Corps and telling them how it shaped my life and the good it's done for me. Like if I had been in for fucking 15 years and I was less than a year in, but just to see that I had that, and I had the audience in the palm of my hand, and I was like, okay, they're eating up everything I'm saying. And I was like, okay, I did good, like it wasn't bullshit that I was spewing, because I was still a young, motivated devil dog boot.
But you have a way with words, so
sometimes more times than I'm an asshole than I am just, not an asshole. I encouraged somebody to join the military. He ended up joining the Army, but that was a win for me. That was pretty fucking cool. Just going off of whatever I said. I don't remember what I said. Yeah, it was almost 30 years ago, but that was pretty cool. Like, I took pride. I was in, there's a good chance it was probably my dress blues. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It was summer. I remember that. I was hot as fuck in those fucking blues. Outside the Corps, contrary to what people thought of me on my way out, I had an overwhelming sense of pride when 9/11 happened. It kind of reminded me who the fuck I am, who the fuck I was, but before the injury, and that pride I had in carrying, you know, of having the title of being a U.S. Marine. I felt like I walked around a little bit taller. I was in shape enough to put my uniform back on, so I was going to church on Sundays in my Charlies. And there wasn't much I could do at that point, but just represent.
It felt good.
It did. It did feel good. Yeah.
Growing up, like in the areas I grew up, I really didn't see Marines, or at least I didn't know, you know, any that were within my local area. It wasn't until my friend joined the Marines, and then I started seeing the recruiters in a different way. And it's just cool when you walk in your uniform in the community that you grew up in a different way.
Yeah.
And then people looking at you in a different way. You know, you're not that same person anymore.
Yeah, you're not Johnny on the block anymore.
Yeah.
You're a fucking Marine.
That's right.
And that, you know, even now, I mean, I want to say fucking 75% of my fucking clothes I wear is military related. But, you know, and I get poked at for being new wrong, whatever, but it's just, that's still the pride that I still have. I still get that look. Good. That's exactly what I still fucking want. Feels good.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So, tell me, how has your military experience influenced your life since leaving the service? And what lessons have you carried with you since then?
Your actions have consequences. I learned that early on when I ditched a first sergeant's retirement party. Off hours, I got in trouble with my personnel chief. Dude, it was a fucking Friday. Got in trouble. Me and this other guy ended up ditching that. And, you know, I got a phone call later in the evening from our personnel chief. Where were you? I said whatever I said. And he's like, we'll talk about this on Monday. I'm like, really? This is going to be hovering over my head over my head all weekend. And he made me and the other guy fucking field day the office. We had to field strip the floor, and we had to buff it out. And, you know, it was just stupid games. That's all it was. But there was consequences to my actions. I try to instill that in Jacob. You know, that ain't Bendahala. Any fucking stupid thing you're going to do, it's going to have a fucking consequence. You know, whether it's big or small.
What advice would you give someone that's considering joining military service?
Get as fit as you can. Work on that fucking upper body. Just get as fit as you can. Get your mind right. Meditate, go to church. Be around your loved ones. Attend all your pulley functions. You got the internet now. There's nothing that you can't learn that'll prepare you for boot camp. Just be prepared. And that's one of the things I learned too. I learned how to be prepared for almost any scenario.
Of course, there's certain scenarios that go pretty deep, but that I don't think you could prepare yourself for.
No, you can't. Loss of a child. You can never prepare for that. And I thought I would be, and no.
And I know you, and as a family, you're something you're going to heal for forever. Something that's going to take forever to heal, you know?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why I moved back. That's why I did a second tour in East LA. I was living in Vegas. Like I said, I had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to move to Vegas. We acted on it. Lived there for 2 years, right on the border of Summerlin. Really nice part of Vegas. I barely went to the Strip. I did. I got so much hiking in. Just some beautiful parts, just like parts you wouldn't think that were out there in fucking Vegas. My daughter, my stepdaughter, Rachel, she was diabetic, and she always had challenges with diabetes. It just got the best of her. It got the best of her. She was admitted to the hospital Labor Day weekend, the weekend of my birthday, 2020. She didn't pull out. Yeah, I have the unfortunate honor of being part of a club that I didn't want to be a part of. I was losing a child. Because those last couple of years, we got close. We got close, or, she would come talk to me about things she wouldn't talk to her mom about, or anybody else about. So I knew I had her under trust, and there was nothing I could do about it. She was gone. My daughter literally died in my hands. We made the decision September 7th in 2020 that, her organs were shutting down. She had brain swelling. She wasn't going to pull out of it. She wasn't going to even have a chance to be a vegetable, or whatever term it is. The PC term is nowadays. But yeah, we pulled the plug. We had an adult at every part of her major extremities, her hands and her feet. I remember I was on her left side. Ruthie was at her right foot. I don't remember who was on the opposite hand and foot, but I remember holding her hand, and she squeezed it. We had decided to pull the plug, and she was squeezing my hand, and there was that slight second. I was like, is she still? But she's still there, I just kept telling her, it's okay to let go. And she was twisting my hand. It's not really happening, but it was happening, and I just kept telling her, I whispered to her, just let it go, let go. It's okay. There's nothing to be scared of. Yeah, that changed everything. Los Angeles was burning, and it was real hot. There was a few weeks because of COVID, because there was a lot of the funeral homes were backed up. So I think about 2 weeks to bury her, and it was hot, and just the anger. It was anger. I remember going to the chapel when Ruthie made the decision. She made the decision. Well, we both did, but of course it was going to be on her, ultimately, to make that decision. And I went to the chapel, and I screamed. I was mad. I was mad at God. And yeah, I was angry. I was angry for a long time. Sadly enough, I knew that when this happened, selfishly enough, I knew, fuck, I'm gonna have to move back. Like, any hope being out in Vegas any longer it's not gonna happen. So I wrote out my lease for another 6 months. Reluctantly moved back to LA, East LA, and I didn't want to. I was angry. I was mad. Like, Vegas is my ideal spot. Like, I love being out in the desert. Had a perfect amount of sun, heat. You get that little cold, and it was perfect conditions for me. I was happy. I had my life there, and I had to give it up now. So I reluctantly moved back. But my marriage was already strained because of Vegas, like, big time. I was pretty much a geographic bachelor. I think I used that term with you guys before. And moving back to East LA, it was still causing a lot of strain. I lived in East LA for another 3 years. So I figured until we finally got out.
It seemed longer. It seemed like it was longer. But it was during, like, the pandemic, so everything was shut down. People were hesitant to get with each other at like and hang out like they were casually doing before, and but people were bold to do so during that time frame, and it was well going back to honor Rachel, and remember her and the life that she left. But then, I mean, in essence, that's the circumstances what sort of brought us back together too. So,
yeah, I was about to touch on that. Oddly enough,
yeah,
in her passing, it brought us back together. It brought us back together, and here we are, X amount of episodes in. We made this come to life.
Yeah.
So everything happens for a reason, and if that's a life lesson that I've learned, it's everything happens for a reason.
I know you mentioned that you're still working in the finance field, right? What exactly are you doing right now in that?
Do you want me to glorify it?
I do.
So I can sound like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Of course, yes. It sounds great when you say it like that.
Yeah.
You could say the boring way after too.
Okay. I work for City National Bank. I'm an escrow loan servicing specialist. I maintain the escrow accounts, the escrow inbound accounts for affluent banking customers. We make sure their taxes are paid, the insurance premiums don't lapse. We run annual escrow analysis for them. We deal with these customers and their relationship managers every day. And that's pretty much what I've been doing.
So in a nutshell, you just help people get out of certain circumstances?
No, that's when I was working in foreclosures.
So then what, in a nutshell, what would you say?
I'm pretty much an account manager for these impound accounts.
Okay.
Because with a lot of mortgages, they require you to have an escrow account. It's pretty much a little trust account where money gets put in. Pretty much that trust consists of your taxes or insurance, or taxes and insurance, because there's a lot of people that don't pay their taxes, they don't pay their insurance, and it lapse. The taxes go to property tax sale. So we're kind of saying, you know what, we'll have this account for you. X amount of money will be put in to pay for that. So that means you'll be paying a little bit more to your mortgage. But we're going to make sure your taxes get paid. There's no lapses in your insurance. So we're kind of watching we got your six.
That's pretty cool. That sounds more intense than what you probably just look at and understand. But I'm sure it took you all this years to get there to understand this kind of.
Yeah, it did. Because when I was at PennyMac, I was in the escrow department, but I pretty much did one thing for 8 years. I kind of got pigeonholed. And when I asked to move forward, I'll get sucked back into what I was originally doing. So I kind of hit a glass ceiling in a lot of ways. And at the end of those 8 years, I knew it was time to move on. Not only because, I had to, coming back to East LA, I had to start doing that drive back to Moore Park. That was a lot. Losing Rachel, because at that time, everything was reminding me of her. And that drive, the office, everything reminded me of her. I just needed to I didn't need to move on, but I needed to move forward in my life. And I just felt, okay, this is the universe telling me it's time to do something else or work somewhere else. And fortunately, I was able to find a job pretty quick. After we went to Cancun, about 2 months after that, I found something else. I gave my job into notice and parted ways. And, here I am. There's a lot in between, too. It's a lot of boring talk. Banks going out of business and shit like that.
Yeah. I remember you calling me and you were like, we're going under. What does that mean? And it was really happening. Like you would see the stock going down and it was like just dropping.
And no, we're not talking about City National Bank.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't City National Bank. It was another bank you were working for.
Yes.
But it was intense.
It was.
Because I was like, whoa, I was trying to find the best of everything. Maybe they do this so they could reevaluate their things and they're going to surprise you with the larger stock option at some given point or whatever.
Poor thing, you were trying to find the upsides.
I
I'm
was
like,
trying to
no,
know.
this thing is fucking, this is nosediving, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even, I was expecting every day to go into that building of that former bank, just expecting to get locked out. Like, okay, my badge isn't going to work. It was fucking intense.
Yeah, banking could be intense.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I was there for the crash of '08, and then what we're going through post pandemic, when with the rates just fucking going like all the way up, like skyrocketing, and they're not showing any signs of going down. Like, what is my second banking crisis that I've really gone through, and I'm only 45, and I got another fucking 20, 23, 25 years left. How many more banking crises am I going to have to deal with? Probably a lot more.
A lot more.
Yeah. I can't too old for this shit.
You'll start seeing the scanning of the forehead and the wrist at some point. Don't worry. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I know you're really big on the outdoors to stay physically fit and just to stay active and just to help with mental health. What kind of exciting things are you doing, or do you do? You've done some cool hiking adventures in the past. What are some cool stuff that you've done that it's worth talking about? Like one that just almost kicked your butt, but
there's been quite a few. One I can name. I can name a couple here in California. In particular, there was this one called Inspiration Point over in the San Gabriel foothills. I think it was an 11-mile hike, mostly going all the way up, dude. And then there was times when I was just like, fuck, I can't do this anymore. You start seeing your point, you just fucking keep going forward. And I had a great hiking partner back then, so she would push me, but I knew that I had to be better, so I was pushing myself even more so I could set the example. So that was that one. Inspiration Point. A lot of them are over there in the San Gabriel foothills. Actually, there was one in Santa Cruz that I did where and it wasn't strenuous. I slipped on a fucking rock and I fucked up my ankle and my wrist. And I still finished the hike. I was just barely going to get to the good part. So I went upriver hiking and I just fucking kept going, dude. I just fucking kept going and I finished it. I came back and my fucking ankle's fucking swollen. And Ruth's like, I want to go try to San Francisco. So we're walking up and downtown. And you know how hilly it is.
Yeah.
Fuck, with the busted ankle, dude. And I'm not saying shit because I don't want to hear I told you so. But that was a motherfucker. In Vegas, I had another friend out there too that would push me. I pushed my limits because I had to set the example again. And there was this one called Cathedral Rock over in Mount Charleston. And you go out there and you swear it's not fucking part of Vegas. Like, it's just so fucking beautiful. Like, it looks like something you see like somewhere like up in Central California or somewhere in the Midwest with the fucking hills. And it's just all uphill, dude. All uphill. And it's just a fucking challenge. But the view, the vista point is just so fucking gorgeous, dude. It's fucking worth every fucking, every fucking step. There was another one out in Vegas it was by Nellis Air Force Base called Frenchman Mountain. That is the equivalent to the fucking Reaper or Mount Motherfucker. Because you just keep going and you see another plateau and you see another plateau and you see another plateau. And it just looks like it never ends, but it gets steeper and steeper.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I went with a friend and then it just took like 6 hours. I probably could have done it in probably half that time. But you don't leave anybody behind.
I highlight that you like the outdoors, but also still going back to promoting change within living a healthy lifestyle. You want to be that inspiration for your son. He's active. He used to do the Cub Scouts, right? Or the
Boy Scouts.
Yeah, Scouts.
He's doing swimming.
Doing swimming. I know you were taking charge of the Cub Scouts at one given point.
Oh yeah. There was that time where I was a den leader for his troop, and I felt like a Marine again, because he kind of like, I'm gonna demand that presence. It felt good for what it was worth. I know it could have been so much more, but with the right leadership, that was above me, and it wasn't there. But because in the end, it was for the kids, to teach them to be better, to teach them to be better citizens, and to take pride in the community and in themselves. It would have been great to have kept that going. Given the leadership that was above me, it wasn't gonna go that far. And from what I heard that troop isn't. I don't think it's around anymore. I think after Ruthie and I left, I think it really kind of fizzled out little by little. But it sucks because we were the ones that were keeping it together.
Yeah. I remember those stories you would mention. Yeah. But I do want to highlight that. So, in regards to you staying physically fit, I know that you're hard on yourself when it comes to maintaining that certain standard. You've had that since even before the Marine Corps, because of trying to accomplish that goal. You find ways to exceed and thrive during the toughest of times. So you are hard on yourself sometimes, as your brother. I tell you that sometimes, and I know I could be hard on myself too. And I think we are, as men, are hard on ourselves. But I think within these past years, being able to openly share certain things with each other about our lives, and being receptive to one another has definitely helped me heal within life, as well as be able to continue to share life and being willing to open and share life with others, especially through this podcast, and I think that's what's beautiful. I love just hearing when we talk to like Lopez or even to Zepeda, he's like, oh yeah, just keep it up, guys, keep it up. And you don't think the effort's worth it sometimes, but you turn around and it really is,
Yeah, and that's why even if I'm doing like a treadmill run, I want to put it on the group chat and says, I want to say I'm doing it for those who can't.
Like me.
But it's just like me being like insecure of like, I'm going to get a backlash. Someone's going to be fucking with me being like, oh, fucking, you're at a fucking Planet Fitness and you should be at a Gold's Gym. Shut the fuck up, dude. It's a gym. Is a gym. You're going to get what you get out of it no matter where you're at. Yeah, I still want to be that example. I've hit some physical setbacks, unfortunately.
You mentioned your foot, and that happened in the military. Are you service connected by that?
Yes, I am service connected. I've been going to the VA for other things recently. Sleep apnea, which I think is something we should probably talk about in a separate podcast. I'm going for I've been dealing with back issues for a long time, and I think it probably goes as far back as when I took that fall down the ropes. I landed right on my ass. There was a hike maybe 2 weeks into the fleet where I threw my back out. And it's funny because I didn't think about that until I was just telling Ruthie about it earlier today. And how my back gave out. And I couldn't walk the whole weekend. I don't know how I made it to base Monday to go PT and to keep going. 18 years old, fucking thrown out back, dude. What kind of shit is that? Because of those back issues, they've been gradual, but now it's getting worse. And now knowing that I've got whatever recent diagnosis with the VA, bulging disc, degenerative back disease, herniated discs. I don't know what the fuck else is going on with me.
But even if you look at your foot, right? Like with that being an issue back then, they had to go in there, right? They had to take care of some stuff that was in there. They had to move some stuff around. There was tissue that was probably taken out, eventually leading into other things, leg pain, maybe hip pain, leading into your back. So all that connecting now. We served in an infantry unit. They made us do everything everything that the grunts did. For some of us, we were also with combat engineers, and we would go out and do the things that combat engineers would do, because they were like, oh, just send them out because we have to send bodies out. Or, we're all going, and we're all going to experience this. I remember times going on hikes, and all of a sudden there would be a loud bang of some sort right next to me. And then all of a sudden they're like, gas, gas, gas. Right. And then, or there'll be other training exercises that they would be providing to us. And next thing I'll tell you, like I shared earlier, I just recently filed a claim. One of it was for ringing in my ears, because I never thought that ringing, that it was ringing associated with the military. I was always told it was someone talking behind your back. And that's why you
gotta lick your finger.
Because someone was talking behind your back, and
Bite
that's
your tongue.
And so, but it's constant, but there was times where it was a little bit more, but it was just a constant ringing that never really went away. And I explained this to my local veteran service officer at the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall, located at 1816 South Figueroa Street in Los Angeles, 90015. And you could find for those that living in Los Angeles County area, you could locate your local veteran service officer at mva.lacounty.gov. And I had no idea that resources was available to me. So I'm just throwing it out there. Sorry, I wanted to throw a plug out for it.
Nice
I have to.
Yeah, shit. This is all about passing the knowledge on.
Yeah.
And educating our fellow service members.
And on top of that too, there are websites out there. Even if you type in Google, local veteran service office in my county, your local county, or type in your zip code, and one should pop up. There will be a locator, and we helped a few veterans out so far find theirs, and have them get connected with them, so they could have a little dialogue to see what's going on, and a conversation of possibly being compensated for some of their time in service. That, especially if it's documented at some given point in their medical record. And if not, there are other ways to try to appeal that, even now to this day, even though it's been years. So I've been seeing Vietnam veterans come in, actually, saying, I've never filed for nothing. Like, what? Like, you qualify for so much things off the bat. So we have a conversation with them, submit the stuff. Next thing you know, they come in saying, I got approved. And they had no idea that resource was available to them.
It's fucking crazy.
It is.
Like, imagine, like, if there's any back pay there, like, especially if these guys are, like, dealing with hard times.
And unfortunately, there's not. There would have been at some given point, even if they would have wrote a letter, But now there isn't anything. Like, you have a year. So, like, if you talk to your local veteran service officer, you do an intent to file, and then you have a year from the date you do the intent to file to gather all the stuff that you might need in order for you to process that claim. If not, you start the process again once that year is over, and then you're just delaying your benefit. Yeah, but oddly enough, a lot of people might not think they might not qualify, but units matter. Time, because I know where we were at, they made us do everything, and we were basically administrative grunts, in essence, when it was the turning point of learning the computers and making sure that paper wasn't an issue, where things could be digital and we could know who's going in and out of certain areas. And I don't know, it was
0321 shouldn't have been recon. It should have been fucking administrative grunt. That's what it should have been.
Right. There we go. That's a good one. That is a good one. I know we're going to have more conversations when it comes to service connection. I asked my brother, Erik, this because, we could have an open discussion like this, and it's important to have this kind of discussion with other veterans and talk about how you got connected, especially if you've served with each other. And I would have never thought that ringing in the ears was associated to this. I honestly thought this whole entire time it was someone talking behind my back, per the old wives' tale. It
was the times when we would be on the rifle range, our earplugs would fall out. We didn't have time to put them back in because you were being timed.
Or with us,
and it was so much louder. I think Sam had mentioned something like that.
even with the combat engineer unit, they had like bulldozers, and we were working with all the heavy machinery and stuff like that at times. And we would be out there guiding them, and they wouldn't give us the proper, we would just report. They would be like, go stand over there and make sure that no one walks over here. But you were still around all the tractors. Going back, they would put us in those areas and they wouldn't provide us with the proper hearing equipment. Everybody else would have the proper hearing equipment.
Protective headphones.
There we go. They would be protective headphones. There would be a stand here, and you're part of this. Make sure, you stand clear of this. Make sure that others stand clear of this area. But you were still involved, one way, shape, or form. There was a time where they would take us out and blow stuff up because that's what they did.
Oh, we have extra cases of grenades.
Right, that
and
too.
You wouldn't just throw 2 or 3 of them. You were throwing dozens of them.
Right,
so
at a time.
Just constantly fucking boom, boom, boom.
They also mentioned, they put on there my time on ship. How was there anything significant that you could recall that could have been loud? And I'm like, they would send us to the laundry room down on the bottom of the ship without any hearing gear. They or protective hearing gear, and basically we would be down there for hours, just waiting to wash your clothes or whatever it was. And then finally go back up and deal with everything else. Being in closed spaces and everyone screaming and yelling and everything ringing off the walls because it's all metal,
yeah.
So we don't have hearing gear for that. So I never associated with that. So we'll see how that goes. But sorry. So going back to your service connection, I know that you could possibly start going to talk to a veteran service officer, or even the fact that you've even reported it into the VA that you have leg pain and all that other stuff. Eventually you could get compensated possibly for a secondary, and that's something that we'll probably discuss at other podcast, what that term means.
I'm looking for secondary, thirdary, and fourthary.
But you'll be surprised that usually the secondaries is what helps people get as close as possible to 100%, and that's what I'm learning. The secondaries. And there's so many that are out there. We'll definitely have to have another
we will
chat, about that.
Especially now that you got your own gear too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My big old manuals and books and all that other stuff.
Your podcast equipment suitcase.
That's right. I saw that. And you go to the VA to go discuss about these issues that you're facing stemming from the military.
Well, I just started recently after Rachel passed away. I was trying to I don't know how to cope with her loss. And for the longest time, I think I'd mentioned before, I didn't want to be on meds again. But we're still working at home from PennyMac when I was working with PennyMac. And I would have these episodes of grief. And I had to do something about it. My friend at PennyMac, Christina Gonzalez, she was the first one that referred me to one of the helplines, the hotlines there. And I sought therapy through there first, but I started thinking, fuck, why did I just go with the VA? It's my right. So I started, after the therapy with them ran its course, I started to, I think I started going to the VA maybe sometime September 2021, I want to say. I tell them what was going on, and my main reason for going there the first time was just to take care of what was going on in my head. It wasn't even about my physical state yet. And I've been getting the help I need since. I talked to an online therapist pretty often. I'm taking my medications that I need to help me get through the depression and anxiety, these sleeping issues. The VA has been there for me, and all I had to do was just take that step.
And through that, it's opened up you've been able to have other conversations with the primary care physicians that are there.
And such as my back pain, because it's a combination of things. But my back pain has been acting up really bad over the last 12 months or so. So yeah, we're gonna start getting that looked. We're getting that looked at now, and that's how I got my diagnosis that I recently got. I was a little taken back by it. Yeah, it did shake me up a bit. It even started making me doubt what I do. Am I doing too much? Is it just in my head now? Am I feeling these pains now more because I know what's going on?
Well, your body's changing, and we don't really know what's going on the inside. Mentally, we feel that we could still do it all, but physically, we are changing, and we don't really take that into consideration sometimes, and that's what's tough. That's what's really tough, because we still want to be. We want to be young.
Yeah, and being a man, you still want to be
tough it up.
You want to tough it up, and that's what we were taught. Whether it was from our parents, from the Marine Corps, we were taught to suck it up. And I feel like my limits are becoming a reality. I feel like, fuck, am I just getting soft? Or is it real? Is it in my head? Like right now, that's my little crisis of conscience. Like, am I doing too much? I don't know. I don't know. It's just a conversation I need to have with myself, I guess, and just try to, pull the nose up from this and just, keep going as much as I can without, causing further damage to myself.
And you just take it a day at a time.
I'm trying to.
Something I totally forgot to do in the intro was do our quiz.
Oh, shit. I was hoping you forgot.
No, I didn't.
I was hoping you'd forget.
I didn't. I typed these up earlier. I was trying to do something else for later. But what I have right here is question number 1. Are you ready for the challenge?
I don't have a choice. I know how the other Marines have felt.
These are a little bit more different. These are a little bit of inspirational Marine Corps trivia. Some of them I'm not expecting you to know, but if you do, I'll be really surprised. But number 1, you should get this one. Number 1 is, who is the Marine Corps legend who said, pain is temporary, quitting is forever? Was it A, Chesty Puller, B, Dan Daly, C, John Glenn, or D, R. Lee Emery? Again, the question was, who is the Marine Corps legend who said, pain is temporary, quitting is forever?
Chesty Puller.
That's right. The quote emphasizes perseverance and resilience, encouraging individuals to push through challenges and never give up. And you definitely have a story of that. So I was very inspired to make sure that question was asked. Thank you for sharing everything you shared with us, because I know some of it had to probably push some buttons and made you think a little bit, but you never gave up. Like you said, if someone tells you no, or you can't, you'll find a way to. So that's cool. All right, number 2. What is the name of the Marine Corps program that provides support and resources to wounded, ill, and injured Marines, as well as their families? Is it A, the Wounded Warrior Regiment, B, the Marine Corps League, C, Semper Fi Fund, or D, Operation Homefront?
Is it D, Operation Homefront?
It isn't.
What
it
is
isn't. It's actually the Wounded Warrior
God
Regiment.
damn it. I was going to go with that. I'm like, dude, that's too obvious.
That program actually promotes hope and healing by providing assistance and resources to those who have sacrificed for their country.
You would think I'd know that. I think I did a ruck for them once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
The Wounded Warrior Regiment. Number 3, and your last one too. Who is the Marine Corps hero who lost his legs in combat, but went on to become a successful athlete and inspirational speaker, providing that anyone can overcome adversity? Was it A, Noah Galloway, B, Derek Redmond, C, Johnny Williams, or D, Charlie Linville?
Or is it E, Lieutenant Dan?
No.
That's why I snickered on it. I'm so fucked up. Let's go with Johnny Williams.
No,
Son
it
of a
wasn't. No,
bitch.
it's okay. It's okay. That's a tough one. But I do put that out there because I know that that's a major disability, right? Like loss of limbs, right? I mean, come on. I'm not laughing at the fact that he lost his limbs. I'm sorry.
Like, here I am complaining about a
Yeah.
bad back. This guy
Yeah.
has no fucking legs.
No, but we have to acknowledge, right? It's a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome even the toughest challenges, inspiring hope and resilience in others. So, I think with everything, your story does promote that. It's inspiring to promote hope and resilience to others. And on top of that, it's just a joy that we could just be here. And there's nothing else that we could do to take that away, because we will continue to capture stories, ensuring that it's capturing the courage, the honor, the action, and the triumph that goes behind the person who we're interviewing, and today we had the honor and privilege of interviewing you, Mr. Erik Monarca, Lance Corporal, United States Marine Corps. And, we do start our first podcast as we're the terminal lances. There's no shame to it.
Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, dude,
That's the first guy.
Watch this guy. He's gonna be listening. Well, Lance Corporal Erik Monarca from El Monte, California, it's been an honor to hear your story and have you on the show. As a Marine, you embody the values of courage, honor, and commitment, just like your inspiration, Chesty Puller. Remember his famous words? We're not all retreating. We're just advancing in a different direction. Keep pushing forward, Erik, and know that we're all in this battle together. Continue to lead with courage, honor, and action, and know that your triumphs will inspire others. And always remember to cover your six, because we've got your back together. Semper Fi, brother. Thank you for joining us today on Chat 62. Your dream, your vision, and we look forward to hearing about your continued successes.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
One love. No. Brothers and sisters at arms, are you struggling with your mental health? You are not alone. There is help available. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is there for you. Call or text 988 to connect with a trained crisis counselor 24/7. Do not hesitate to reach out for support. You are strong. You are loved. Semper Fi.